Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin have one of the most traumatic experiences you could ever go through. And but they take those experiences and they use them as fuel to fight for a better tomorrow, to fight for a better future. And we believers can see this and be inspired by how they focus not on the bad that has happened, but the good that they can do when they get up and do something about it. What's going on, fam? Welcome to the Adonime podcast, where we watch anime with the redemptive eyes of a Christian believer. My name is Manny.
And my name is Sebas. And welcome to another flag review. Today we'll be reviewing the anime Attack on Titan.
So for flag videos, we rate the anime with either a green flag, which means it has lots of great Christian values that we can learn from, yellow flag, which means a Christian believer must watch with discretion, and a red flag, which means it has little to no Christian values that we can learn from. And flag videos also do not contain any spoilers. So the synopsis for Attack on Titan goes like this. Centuries ago, mankind was slaughtered to near extinction by monstrous humanoid creatures called Titans, forcing humans to hide in fear behind enormous concentric walls. What makes these giants truly terrifying is that their taste for human flesh is not born out of hunger, but what appears to be out of pleasure. To ensure their survival, the remnants of humanity began living within defensive barriers, resulting in 100 years without a single Titan encounter. However, that fragile calm is soon shattered when a colossal Titan manages to breach the supposedly impregnable outer wall, reigniting the fight for survival against the man eating abominations. After witnessing a horrific personal loss at the hands of the invading creatures, Aaron Yeager dedicates his life to their eradication by enlisting into the Survey Corps, an elite military unit that combats the merciless humanoids outside the protection of the walls. Aaron, his adopted sister Mikasa Ackerman, and his childhood friend Armin Arlert join the brutal war against the Titans and race to discover a way of defeating them before the last walls are breached. So, Sebas, would you kindly share with us the rating for Attack on Titan?
Absolutely. And the rating for this anime is TV mature, which means 18 plus. Now, what would you say, Manny? Is this a good rating for this kind of anime?
100%. 100%. This anime is definitely, you definitely have to be mature to watch this. It has lots of blood, lots of death. It's, yeah, definitely not for young adults, for sure. What about you, Sebas?
I agree 100% with you. Because, yeah, if you have sensibility with gore, don't watch this.
Yeah.
Gory animes are tough sometimes, and this one in specific, it's pretty tough sometimes at the beginning. To be honest, there is much more than only the gory part. This anime, besides that, I think it's for mature people. So yeah, I think TV mature is fine.
Yeah, I agree. So, Sir Sebas, if you can share with us your points on your flag and then reveal to us in the end how you would flag this anime.
Well, to be honest, when I look back on the time, this was the second anime that I watched. The first one was Bleach. Attack on Titan was the second one.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 16 years old. So when we talk about the rating, yeah, I wasn't inside that rating. But
Wow.
I did get to enjoy this anime because personally, and this is me, Sebastian, if it's fake blood, which means anime blood, I don't have any issue. I don't have that sensibility. Now we're talking about even though it's artificial blood from horror movies, I do have a big sensibility for that. But in this case, I didn't think so. And at the time when I was watching this anime, it was interesting to me because of the whole concept of the anime. It's something that you wouldn't see, and I think so far we have not seen another anime like Attack on Titan. Um, I thought that it was pretty cool how this situation developed, and especially on the character of Eren, who being so young happened to expect a tragedy, and then when that happened, his life changed completely. He had to move, he had to be relocated, and he was in constant hatred against tyrants.
Mm-hmm.
So up to a certain point, I was like, wow, this character now has only one purpose on his life, and it's to kill tyrants. He wants to revenge his family. He wants to make revenge on everything that has happened. And at the same time, there is like this weird past that we don't understand that's going on with him. So I got intrigued by this character because of the way he was, because of the past, mysterious past that it is. And whenever you say mystery, you got me there. I want to solve out the mystery. What's going on?
Yeah, and this anime definitely, I feel like watching this anime, you find out something new about the whole mystery of this anime. Every episode is a new mystery that's being revealed, and I'm the same as you. Like, I love mystery and I love solving the mystery, and this is those types of animes that you just start figuring out little by little things that's happening, and you start seeing all the dots connecting, and it's just it's it's fun to watch. It's fun to see all that.
Exactly. So more than a drive to more than a drive because of the characters, I had a drive because of okay, the story, the mystery that is behind the story. So how can we solve this mystery? Why are there tyrants? And that drive me to keep watching and watching and watching. When we talk about action, this anime has a lot of action that you can enjoy. When we talk about fights, the fights are awesome.
They're incredible, if I may say so.
Yeah.
They're incredible. The animation, and oh my gosh, it's incredible.
And then the strategies, because it's not only about that, but the characters have a strategy. And I think
Hmm.
for that reason, Armin is one of my favorite characters because the guy has a brain. The guy
Yes,
thinks about everything, and he's steps uh,
ahead.
ahead of the other characters. So you are like, wow, Armin even forecasted that that was going to happen. I cannot believe it. So I really enjoy those aptitudes of this anime. Now there is also as well as there are positive stuff, there are also negative stuff that we should be aware of. Number one, it talks a lot about revenge and
Hmm.
the drive that the main character has. It's purely towards revenge. So the guy wants revenge, revenge, revenge. And when you ask him what is your purpose in life, revenge. When you see that life, I personally I feel sad for Eren because his only purpose is to kill tyrants. But what after they're gone? He's gonna kill himself. He's gonna what is he gonna do by himself? So I always felt bad because of that. Because even though revenge can sometimes take you to do things, it's not the main purpose of your life. It cannot be the main purpose of your life. Living your life by revenge is not going to bring anything good to you. And I think it's correct for us to say that at the end of the day, if he continues down this path, only death, only sadness, only loneliness is going to be with him. So I personally think that's a strong topic that you have to consider, especially if you have well, if you have a tendency to have a strong thoughts towards those that scene in specific, you should be careful, because maybe this anime is not a good example for you to follow. Because speaking it out and being honest, living after revenge is not the main goal of our lives, and is not the way that we are supposed to live. On the other side, Jesus called us to do the whole completely different thing. He called us to love our enemies. He called us to bear each other. He called us to forgive each other. Even when the other person doesn't offer you that forgiveness, you're still supposed to forgive him. Once again, the main motivation of this character is not the best. And that's something that you have to keep into consideration.
Do you think that anime is promoting revenge?
I wouldn't say that not necessarily it's promoting revenge. Of course, you can see that the main character motivation is that. But as you go through the anime, you notice that even though revenge is a main focus of it, he starts developing other stuff to make him feel more centered. How can I say this? For example, the relationship that he has with his comrades. He gets to love them as a family. And when one of them dies, they all sorrow, they all cry, they all have that moment of intimacy. Because this is, even though it's not a even though in a certain way it's a military anime, because yeah, they work within a certain type of police or so, and they get to develop those strong bonds with different characters, which is something that I think it's really good about it. Now, once again, you can see how he life little by little start adding up other stuff, but revenge up to the first couple of seasons it is still part of the main focus, and that's something that you have to consider. I wouldn't say that at the end of the day it will be the main point, but it is a really strong topic that they touch on a constant basis. Not only that, but we also said about the gory. There is some gory over here. Oh, sorry,
Not
some gore on this anime.
not just some. It's really really. I mean, it's not like it's really gory. There's a lot of blood.
Yeah,
There's a
there's
lot
a lot
of
of blood.
it's
and
it's really
and
gory.
it is sometimes really specific. For example, when the titans are eating people, it's not like you see them swallowing them whole. No, you see them munching on the head, or taking out the half of the body, and then the blood spreads. You will see blood.
It's
So
really
if that's
gory.
a sensibility that you have, absolutely, this is not also the anime for you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I also think that this anime, up to a certain point, can also lead us to learn a little bit about forgiveness. Now, it's pretty tough to say that in the first couple of
Yeah.
on
Because it's
a long while on the
what
episodes.
yeah, because what happens is, oh my gosh, it's insane.
You guys don't know, when we talk about this flag review, sometimes we are tempted to give spoilers, but because flag reviews are not supposed to have spoilers. Yeah, at the beginning it's really really difficult to see that, but as the story progresses, you get to see little depictions of forgiveness, of changing, of loving. And there is even a point where you get to think, okay, I don't understand what's going on right now. If that's yeah, if you get to that point, don't worry. I was in the same point. I was in the same part.
Yeah, a lot of the endings to a lot of the episodes, you'd be like, wait, what? Like that's your reaction. And you're just like, wait, if that's this, then wait. I'm so lost. I need to know. I need to watch the next episode. That yeah, that's what tends to happen. At least that's what happened with me and my wife. So
Mhm. But yeah, uh, those are strong topics that you will see on this anime: revenge, gore, And you will also see the bonding that is between the characters. You will also see those kind of things. And if there is some Christian values that we can get to see from this anime, I will say that the bonding that the people on the anime have, they all have something in common, and is that they want to get rid of the tyrants in a certain way. It could be
Hmm.
for different reasons. One wants to see his family back on the town where they were from. Another one wants to see them because they want their child to grow where they grew. There are every character has their own motivations to be there on the military. And when you see the fellowship, when you see how they share their stories, when you see how close they get, that's what you see, or that's how I see how a Christian should be up to a certain point. And why do I say this? Because we as Christians are not supposed to have just any kind of fellowship. We are not supposed to only be nice at each other at church, or to have that type of relationship in which we say, hey, hello, bye, bye. No, we're supposed to have more than just a superficial relationship. And we're supposed to have a deep relationship within one another. We're supposed to have communion with our brothers and sisters. We are supposed to be able to eventually know what fight does this brother, does this sister have, that I can be praying for them. And at the same time, they are supposed to get to a certain point to get to know the struggle that I'm going through and help me out in that situation. Our relationships are supposed to be deep. And for that reason, sometimes we have to ask deep questions. And I remember I saw that on Attack on Titan, on the episode. There is one episode that everybody's on a camp, on a fire camp. And then everybody starts talking about why they are there, what they expect from the military, what they want to do once they go outside, all those stuff. And when I see that, I say, okay, so now everybody's opening up, everybody's knowing each other's failure, their traumas, what they are going through, and they're trying to support each other and help each other.
Yeah.
That's what we are supposed to do as a community, as a church. We're supposed to help each other, to build each other, to help each other in all those kind of situations. And all of us come from different circumstances. Some people might come from homes that were completely destroyed, whether the father left the mother or whether the mother left the father. Or maybe some come from a home where the mom and dad were there, but maybe the mom and dad were not loving to each other, or they were there just for appearances.
Right.
Every single one of us has a background. Every single one of us has their mistakes. Every single one of us has their sins. And it is really important for us to get to know each other, to get to hold each other accountable, and to be able to ask those deep questions and difficult questions. Hey,
Hmm.
I've noticed that you haven't been reading the Bible lately. How can I pray for you? Why is this happening? Hey, I noticed that the other day you spoke up, and how you spoke wasn't the right way to speak. Or, hey, I noticed that the other way you said this to this person, but you humiliated him. Those kind of things are the things that a believer is supposed to do. And
Right.
every single one of us is supposed to have at least one person. I say at least one person that you can do that with. But it doesn't have to stay with only one person. Eventually, we have to grow, we have to mature, and as well, we have to disciple other people and guide them through this all.
Yeah, and we have to make sure that we are always asking the Lord for help with doing that, because sometimes we might without thinking naturally do that without doing it in love, because that's also something really important. We don't want to be just nitpicky Christians where we're just like, oh, fix this, oh, fix that, you did something wrong here, fix that. It's more of, oh, I see this certain situation happen. Let's have a conversation about it. What do you think about it? Do you think you did the right thing? I think maybe it wasn't the best way that you could have handled it. Let's let's focus on how we can help each other grow in sanctity, in sanctification, and do it in love, because I would say in this day and age, it's so hard to have relationships with people
Hmm.
and be able to tell them something that they're doing wrong. And I feel like part of that is because, no one likes to be told that they did something wrong. No one likes to be told that they made a mistake and this and that. And because, everyone always in their own sense wants to be, wants to be whoever they are. And, that there's lots of people with different types of dramas, and, people trying to point out everything that's wrong about me. And, they've never told me anything good and this and that. And we also should learn from those types of situations where, the Bible says outdo one another in showing honor. And that's, I feel like we need a balance of that,
Hmm.
so that we can assure our brothers and sisters in Christ that we do love them, that we do want them to grow in sanctification. We say these things, whether it's something that they may have done wrong. We say those things so they can be edified, so that we can grow. That's also an opportunity to grow in intimacy in that relationship with that person, because it's always so easy to talk about the good things and the good times, but when we sit down and have a deep conversation about the bad things, or struggles and stuff like that, that I believe is when a relationship can really start to be grounded,
Hmm.
instead of just a superficial, oh, my day was good and this and that. And life is perfect right now, but we all know no one's life is perfect. We
And now that you mentioned that, I've even noticed that many people, the biggest issue that we have at churches right now is that many people don't know how to solve their issues or how to solve the issues. Sometimes the aptitudes that they take, it's, oh, these people look at me bad, so I'm not gonna talk to that person anymore. I don't need that person in my life. There is so much pride. There is so much um, lack of humility over there,
Yeah.
and people don't even make the effort of, oh, this person looked at me on a, I think he looked at me on a mean way the other day. Let's go sit down with him. Let's talk it out. Hey, I've noticed that you look at me this way. Was that an intentional thing? Did I do something to you? Is there any way that I can help you? People don't do that. People
Yeah.
nowadays don't do that. They don't want to
Yeah.
confront others for their sins, and they don't want to confront themselves as well.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem that we have over here on the Church of Jesus Christ. I wouldn't say it's a problem from the church. It's a problem for the whole world, the whole humanity.
Yeah, all of humanity. Yeah.
But us as believers, we are supposed to change that.
Yes.
We are the body of Jesus Christ. We are supposed to be united as a home. That's what
Yeah.
the Bible is calling us. The Bible is not calling us, and there is a verse. It is in First Corinthians. It speaks about, if you are a hand, the hand that cannot say, "Oh, I do not need my eye," or
Right.
the eye cannot say, "Oh, I don't need the head." We need each other. We are all part of the body of Christ. Every single one of us. Even
Right.
that lady or that man that are pretty annoying. Yes, they are also part of the body of Jesus Christ, and I have to love them. No, but you don't understand how difficult they are. No, I do understand people can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
But
you
we are not.
definitely know, speaking from a deacon's point of view.
Yeah, for those that doesn't know, I'm a deacon at my local church, and I deal with people a lot. For that reason, I do know how people is, because as well as people have hurt me, I've hurt people, and I know
Yeah.
what how this works up to a certain point.
Hmm.
So it is really important for us to get to a point where we can learn how to solve issues, how to talk things out, how to deal with with these kind of things.
Yeah.
I believe up to a certain point, every single one of us have to grow on this, and we will keep growing because we will not be perfect on this. Why? Because sin is it's blinding, and
Yeah.
sometimes that can go up to your mind, and you can be like, "Oh, but how is this person? How does this person dare to talk to me about this thing? He doesn't know what I'm going through. He doesn't understand the struggle, and maybe that person doesn't understand the struggle." But maybe it doesn't take away the fact that this person is speaking the truth. And if
And
that's
maybe
the
they're trying to help you.
mm-hmm,
Maybe they're honestly trying to help you, and maybe they don't have the conscience to say, maybe this is rubbing off the wrong way. Maybe I'm not saying this correctly. I'm trying to do the right thing, but it's not coming off right. And then the way I say it, it's just that person's not. It's just there's no, and that's where we have to be really careful. Like when someone criticizes us, we should always think, do they have grounds in what they're actually saying? Should I blame them for what they're actually saying? Can I try and see why, without having the context of everything that's going on, can I blame them for thinking that way? Like, can we at least get to that point where we think about how it looks, whatever it may be that that person is trying to criticize or whatever. um but yeah, I feel like we should all try to understand and give the benefit of the doubt to people.
mm-hmm. And even if I am the one being held accountable, or I am the one being that it's getting another person accountable, we have to be really careful and sensible with those things. And God will polish us. He will help us, and we'll make mistakes. But when we make mistakes, we have to ask for forgiveness. We have
Right.
to be there for the people. We have to keep them engaged. It's not a matter of oh, this person and I cannot speak properly, so I'll just not talk to this person. No, you have to keep trying. You have to keep loving. Maybe you won't be the closest of the buds, but at the end of the day, hey, we're supposed to be the body of Christ. Maybe we can have a little bit of a difference. We will be more compatible with other people than certain other, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna be mean to them, or we're not gonna have any type of relationship with them. We'll just be as open with them as they are with us, and we'll try to be nice to each other, which is what we are supposed to do. We are the Church of Christ. We are supposed to be in unity. Doesn't necessarily mean a close bond, but it has to have some sort of a unity between us. Now,
We're going off on a tangent.
now for the flag of this anime, I really, 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 really had a tough time choosing for this anime because I want to be sensible with the people as well. Yes, there is a lot of gore, there is a lot of stuff over here, but at the same time, I can, differently from other animes that we have watched, I can get some Christian values over here. I'm not saying there are a lot, but I can point out some. I like the story. I like the characters. I think you get to love them as you go through the story. And for that reason, I was debating whether to give it a yellow or a red flag. I personally cannot bring myself to give it a red flag because a red flag means there is nothing good that we can learn from it. But there is this tiny, tiny light that I see over here that I say, well, maybe I can give this anime a yellow flag. So I'll give it a yellow flag, almost red, an orange
Almost.
flag.
Orange flag. All right. Sounds
That
good.
works.
That works.
What about you, Manny? What is your opinion on this anime?
Okay, this is going to be very interesting. Okay, so for me, honestly, Attack on Titan is one of the most tragic shows I have ever seen. There's so much death, there's so much tragedy. This is the type of anime that will crush your heart into mashed potatoes and eat it. Like it's so painful, it's so heart-wrenching. It's devastating to watch most of these episodes.
Especially when you get to like a character, and at the next episode you'll be like, oh, he died. They didn't give him not even a season, an episode.
Yeah, it's it can be really really tough to watch, but at the same time, like, that's part of what makes the anime so good, in my opinion. Because you see the tragedy, and it's not that you desire that tragedy. It's, wow, the amount of drama that is happening. Like, this situation is really terrible and horrifying to watch. How can they get out of this? How can there be any hope in such darkness? And that, in my opinion, is what makes Attack on Titan so incredible. This anime is about a group of people, how a group of people find hope to fight for justice, to fight for freedom, and for everything that is good. All of these things are great lessons that we can learn from the anime. Eren, Mikasa, and Armin have one of the most traumatic experiences you could ever go through. And but they take those experiences and they use them as fuel to fight for a better tomorrow, to fight for a better future. And we believers can see this and be inspired by how they focus not on the bad that has happened, but the good that they can do when they get up and do something about it. Hope is a powerful weapon, and we can see this not only in the Bible but in history after the Bible. Hope drove people like Martin Luther King Jr., who, in spite of the racist society he was living in, rose up to do something about it. He fought for equality, he fought for freedom, and he had a hope that one day it would be a reality. It's exactly like a lot of the characters in this anime. Now I want to share this scripture, the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. And another verse I wanted to share, the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. This anime should lead us to have hope in what is good. And in our case, that is Christ. Christ is our hope. Christ is our salvation. Christ is the one whom we will spend eternity with, the one who truly loves our souls and will keep it safe. And when we put our eyes and our hope in Christ, there should be a fire in us to be like him, to be obedient to him, to strive in this life for what is good, and in that we bring glory to God in everything that we do. I love how they depict such a strong darkness, and in the midst of that darkness they continue to fight on. They continue to find hope. They continue to fight for a better future. I think that's a great example for people that are in the worst of worst. Maybe they're not going through titans, but they're going through some titans in their life, whatever that may be, the worst situations that they may be going through. and they can find hope that there is a light, there is a way out of it, there is there is something better than that, there is a better future that they can hope for. And in our case as believers, that's spending eternity with Jesus in heaven, in the new Jerusalem, you know, and the new earth. We're going to be living with Jesus. That is our hope, that after we die, it is not the end. We will be with Jesus. And for me, that is an inspiration, the way that they go through all those situations and they can find hope. That is a great example to follow. I also really enjoy how this anime tackles racism. I won't get too into it because if I do, it's going to spoil some things. But we can see clearly how racism is wrong in every way from this anime. Judging someone by the color of their skin or where they come from is shameful and cowardice. And I wanted to share a few scriptures. The book of Acts, chapter 10, verses 34 to 35. Then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verses 17 through 19. For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow, and loves the foreigner residing among you, giving them food and clothing. And you are to love those who are foreigners, for you yourselves were foreigners in Egypt. So through this, we can see Christ loves the foreigners among us, no matter what color they are, no matter what country they're from, no matter what social class they're in, and we must follow his example. And we can learn this from Attack on Titan. There are so many great lessons from this anime, and that's one of the ones that are just that for me it just is so important, especially in this day and age, this society that is still fighting against racism, is still fighting against judgment upon other people for how they look or where they're from. That we have to destroy that. We have to destroy that mechanism that is still in our society, because we're all human beings. At the end of the day, we are all image bearers of the God who made us, and we have to remember that. We have to be humble and not pride ourselves in where we're from or what we look like. We have to remember that we are all human beings.
And now that you mentioned that, I would even say there are two things that we have to fight, especially on that topic. Number one, it's this idea of, oh, I am a victim. Because I am a victim, I don't deserve anything that is happening to me right now. So the society, the white people, they're oppressors and they're oppressing me, and that mentality is not going to take you anywhere. If we don't get rid of that mentality, that's not going to help us to grow spiritually. And the second mentality that we have to get rid of, it's that ego and that supremacy where we say, oh, we are better than them because we look like this or we do that, or because we have more culture, we have more jobs, we have more money. None of those things makes us more important than any other person.
Yeah.
We are the same. Why? Because we have what is most important. And what is that? We have Jesus. If anybody else has Jesus, he's just as important as we are. And for that reason, we are not supposed to be holding judgment because of that. So it is, in my opinion, when we talk about fighting against this, we have to consider also that we have to get rid of the mentality of, oh, I am a victim, and also the mentality of, oh, I am superior than any other person. because any of those two mentalities will only get us deeper and deeper on that hole, and we don't want that. Because I think it was John Owen who says there are only two ways for you to live or to fight your sin. Either you kill your sin, or your sin will kill you. So we have to be drastic on how we deal with this, and we have to also be intentional on how we do it.
So on that note, one thing, and it's the same one as you, that we should be careful with this one is the topic of revenge. And I also noted it, and I thought it was funny how you said it too. But I want to be clear on this one. Defending ourselves defending ourselves and people from wickedness and evil is not the same thing as revenge. Revenge is when you try to do harm to someone because of some harm they did to you. The motivation of defending is different than it is for revenge. Revenge is doing harm for the sake of doing harm. Defending is you have
A
you
duty, a
are think
responsibility.
you are thinking about the best interest in for someone's life. You are thinking about the person, about saving someone. You're not thinking necessarily, the motivation is not killing, it's saving. It's different. Our drive as Christians should not be to do harm for revenge sake, because the Bible is clear. Revenge is the Lord's. And who better to leave the task of revenge against your enemies than to the one who holds everyone's lives in the palm of his hands? We are commanded to love our enemies and let God take care of judgment for the wrong that is done against us. Like the verse from Deuteronomy that I just shared, after God saves the people of Israel from Egypt, and at the same time bringing judgment to Egypt for the harm that they did to his people, he commands to love them, to love the foreigner. Now, I don't think the anime promotes revenge per se. I do think that it is something that someone who is watching it might mistakenly understand revenge as a righteous thing to do, but we know that is not the case. Also, because this anime is very dramatic, very disturbing with the killing scenes, and not to mention the Titans are freaky looking. They literally look like naked people, and they have, some scary looking faces, and they move around like really creepy.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I could see why many people might not be able to stomach it. And I understand that, because when I first tried to watch Attack on Titan, which was probably like after the first season came out, I
I
I I couldn't watch it. I literally saw the first couple minutes, and I could not watch it. I had to turn it off. I couldn't stomach it. But everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh, this Attack on Titan, you have to watch it. It's so amazing, this and that." And I grew up a little bit, and my sensibilities were not as weak. I tried it again, and when I tried it again, I could stomach it, and I watched it, and I was completely into it, into not the the whole craziness that happens, but with all of the gore and all that stuff. But the drama of it was so intriguing to me that it was incredible. And I'm not saying I love, like I said, I don't love the gore. I don't love the freaky creatures. I don't love any of that. But because of that, I can appreciate the good of it. How they can, how the anime attempts to redeem from that. And that's part of what makes something so incredible, like how something so incredibly horrible and terrible can become something so beautiful. And I feel like I like how this anime is progressing. It's doing that. It's finding the hope. For me, that's the biggest lesson that I can learn from it is finding hope in the worst darkness possible. Now, we put into consideration the rating. It's for mature, it's a mature audience to watch this. If you are mature, if you can stomach the killing and the titans, which is for mature audience, considering how strong these lessons are implemented and pushed into the viewer, me, I would give the anime a green flag.
What?
Yes.
I'm in shock. I'm just, I'm in shock.
I think a believer can benefit because of the amount of lessons in hope, in rejecting racism. I think that way overpowers everything else in the anime.
I understand that. I don't completely share it, but to the point of calling it a green flag, wow.
Yeah.
That's too far for me, bro.
Yeah.
But I see where you are going to, because when you start watching this anime, it might seem like a conception of revenge, and as it progresses, you know that it's more of a cultural thing. It's more of a, it gives you more a whole vision of what's going on. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Even though with all
it's
the,
like I said, in my opinion, I don't think as it progresses, I don't believe that it's promoting revenge.
yeah, no, no, I understand that. But despite that, you cannot ignore the total amount of gore that there is over there. So I don't know. Uh,
But the
I
gore
wouldn't
is
still
part of
change
the
it. Change my opinion. For me, it's yellow.
I mean, we see
Yeah,
well, we don't see per se, but we read a lot of gory stuff in the scriptures, man, with the wars and battles and stuff like that.
bro, it isn't as
Jonah
graphic
gets
as
eaten
that.
by a whale. Jonah gets eaten by a titan, man. It's just in the shape of a whale.
Because in the on the well, they don't tell you that the acid is over there, and that Noah, oh Lord, that Jonah was surfing through the acid of the stomach of the well. No, but over here
Surfing.
they literally see the blood out of the chomping of the titan into the people's head. I don't know. It's still too much for me.
I feel like that is part of the again like the tragedy into the hope. I feel like you need that. You need to see a strong darkness to be able to see and appreciate such a strong light. I feel like that's what makes the anime so incredible. If you take it in that light. Again, this is for a mature audience. And I believe that if a believer sees it in this way, they can benefit tremendously. Tremendously. That's what I think.
I understand your point of view. In
And
this
I
case,
understand yours.
Emmanuel and I have a disagreement, but it's okay to have a disagreement. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that we are both looking at this with the redemptive eyes of a believer. We are both looking
Hmm.
to glorify God with what we do, and what we want to do is also encourage you guys to, hey, check this out, and you give it your own flag. You don't have to be guided only for Emmanuel or for me, but you can also consider yourself and say, hey, this is something that, yeah, I see where Emmanuel is going, or I see where Sebas is going. I will say that this is what I believe.
Yeah, and depending on your sensibilities, you might not be able to watch this anime, and that's okay.
That's why for me
That's
it's an orange.
and that's completely fine. You know, at some point I was not able to watch this anime, but then as I grew up, I the sensibilities were not the same, and I was able to watch it. And yes, it's gruesome,
But
but
that's what's shocking about this. You passed from a red to a green. O sea, wow. You went to the other
yeah,
side, the other extreme.
yeah,
That was too fast for me.
yeah, yeah. I just feel like the weight of how much good things that can be learned from this anime, it's 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 way more than the negative, in my opinion.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah. So there you guys have it. Our flag review for Attack on Titan. We hope you really enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one. God bless and grace and peace.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of the Adonime podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Adonime Podcast. Until next time, grace and peace. And I also really enjoy how this animal. I really enjoy. I really enjoy how this anime. Hold on, let me say it seriously. Sorry.
Te pasaste. ¿En qué animal estarás pensando? Pasó
Oh
una
god.
cucaracha. Un ratón y entonces por eso pensaste en un animal.
Sorry.